Hello, I'm Robbie Fowler and you're watching Redmen TV.
Hello, welcome to Redmen TV. It's the Uncensored match build-up show. Liverpool taking on Chelsea at Stamford Bridge on Saturday. We're here to talk about that game with the occasional swear word. Chris Pajak, of course, every Chelsea fan's favourite person. Jim Boardman and Aubrey Reynolds. Chris, first and foremost, is this the first big test of Jurgen Klopp's tenure as Liverpool manager?
I think by normal standards it would be. I thought a big test for him was the game just gone. To be honest, he's not in the same stature as Chelsea by any stretch of the imagination, but he had to rotate his squad and he still needed to get a victory. And I think that was a big test in itself. Yeah. By normal things, this is the biggest test so far. You know, it's the biggest team. They're the league champions. Yes, they're not in great form and stuff, but ultimately, let's not forget that it was only a couple of weeks ago that they did Arsenal 2-0 at Stamford Bridge. You know, they can go and they can beat any team on their day, Chelsea, and I think we'd be remiss to forget that.
I think this is a big one in terms of the guys he's going up against. Jim, you know, this is what Mourinho is, the kind of manager that Jurgen Klopp will want to test his abilities against. You know, he's coming in as the new kid on the block, you know, the new biggest story and
the normal one.
The normal one, fucking yeah.
It's gonna get billed as that in it.
It already is being billed as the special one versus the normal one.
It makes me want to vomit. Not that he said it, and not the sentiment behind it, which was all spot on. The idea that we're using it as a fucking marketing.
It's probably already trademarked now, isn't it?
Probably like that fella, the Evertonian who trademarked the People's Club, didn't he, and all that kind of stuff. Yeah, good on him. Anyway, you know, but this is the thing. You know, Mourinho is very much the, you know, he's what's gone before in terms of, you know, the media lap up everything he says. Everyone's looking for a quote. People follow Mourinho as much as they follow Chelsea. It's going to be great to see that as a contest, I guess. You know what I mean? See two managers pitted against each other.
Yeah, I mean, it's a big game. It's not just big here. I mean, it's like abroad. People looking for the big games out of the Premier League. This is one of them, isn't it? It's a big name manager who, let's face it, if we hadn't got him, might have actually been a candidate for Chelsea by now. Yeah. Up against the man who's supposedly the best manager in the world, and as they have to say it through gritty teeth, he sometimes has come quite close to that.
Yeah.
I wouldn't maybe put him there because I can't stand him. But it's a big game and it's a big test, and it's like, forget the bad form they've had this season. They're still the champions. They're still the champions with pretty much the same plays that made them champions. And there's always that fear that any minute now they're going to start playing the way they should play. Yeah. You know, massive test for Klopp, massive game. First win out of the way. Still needs a first league win. Yeah,
I think it is. Mourinho, as much as they're in poor form, whatever, Aubrey, he's a great manager. It's telling, I think, you know, again, we'll not drag it up per se, but it's telling that Chris's favour saying certain things about Chelsea, but the lines that immediately follow it were glowing praise of how good a manager Jose Mourinho is, that people forget very quickly about certain things because of the internet. But you know, Mourinho is, you know, he's done everything you want to do as a manager in the game. He is massively under pressure, but it's not like when inexperienced managers are under pressure, and we saw that happen to Brendan Rodgers. He crumbled in and he didn't have enough of that experience to fall back on. Mourinho's been there and done it. You would bank on him to actually turn it around for Chelsea.
Oh, up until this season and the circus that is him as a person, I wouldn't have had any problem with him being a Liverpool manager. I don't think I would have after this year, because of the extra level of narc and like the whole thing with the Eva Gamero and the extra weirdness that he's just started to show.
Oh, just the extra levels of bellendering that he's brought
basically
into
what he is. But he's a fantastic manager. I remember Chris going back years ago. We were talking about Barcelona versus Inter Milan in the semi-final, and I was a massive Barcelona fan, and I liked that free-flowing football. And Chris was basically like, "You've just watched a masterclass from a team in Inter Milan there, and a manager in how to completely nullify a great attacking team," and he can do that. Unfortunately, he did it to us 2 years ago. He hates us. He absolutely despises us, and he's got this almost strange. I'm going to throw out references that are possibly a few months in advance, but he's got Kylo Ren reference for Darth
Star
Vader
Wars.
in Force Awakens levels to Alex Ferguson.
Yeah.
Like he's got the melted face of Alex Ferguson in his house in some sort of shrine.
I will finish the work
I will finish the work you started, my lord.
So, hang on, do you buy the theory that Luke Skywalker's
No, he's
Kylo
not.
Ren? Good,
But,
because I'm not buying that either.
But he absolutely adores Ferguson, and he loves that Ferguson hated us. And Ferguson wanted nothing more than to knock us off at the top of the pile and the pedestal. And Mourinho's picked that up and decided to use that. And there's always extra knock. If there was one game that he wanted to get his players up for, it'd be us. And it's at home. They've won the last two at home. They beat Villa at home. I know Villa aren't great, but then they beat Arsenal before that. So it's more the away form that's been dodgy for them. And those players could beat any team on the day. I think this is a massive testament to see if he has lost the dressing room or not. Because if he can't get them up to play Liverpool, you know that there's something rotten in that squad. No. If they can come out
Other than Terry,
yeah. But if they can come out and do a good performance, no matter what the result is, you can see that it's just been a bad run of form, or just a few tweaks need to be changed in the formation. He's pissed on our chips so much, hasn't he? Since he came in the 2 times of his managerial.
I think it's telling Brendan never got a grip at Chelsea at all.
No,
did he? No. In his time as Liverpool manager. I think going into this though, I'm not confident about this game at all because I could say Chelsea's form is irrelevant. I actually think it's a very very difficult ground to go and play at regardless of the form. I am less terrified now. I'm more confident simply because of the win against Bournemouth though, Chris. Just the fact that, as I say, we're not going into that game with the narrative of Klopp needs to get his first win as Liverpool manager.
They'll spin it. They'll say league win. They will.
Yeah.
But you're right, because they can spin it how they want. It's what the squad feels and it's what the manager feels and what we feel as fans, and we don't feel that.
Yeah.
You can try and spin that on us all you want, but it's not going to happen. For me, Stamford Bridge. You look at Mourinho's record since he was over his 2 tenures as manager at Chelsea. It's probably the best home record from any manager in the Premier League ever. Yeah. As a win percentage type of thing goes. They've had a struggle this season. They've played 10-1, 2 drawn 3, lost 5 this season, haven't they? So they are having a struggle, but it's still Stamford Bridge. It's still Chelsea. I'm not as fearful as I normally am when we go there, but I'm not confident either. Yeah. I'm normally like, fuck, we've got Chelsea at their place. We're going to get fucking done.
I'm of the opinion, Jim, that I've said this for weeks, we can draw 1-1 with anyone. And my confidence,
as we've demonstrated,
absolutely, my confidence will come from the fact that I believe we can go there and get a draw. My confidence would come from if someone revealed to me between now and kick-off that Sturridge was fit for this or Benteke was fit. You know what I mean? Yeah. I think at the minute until we get one of our top quality centre forwards available to us, I think it's winning in games like this is going to be still more hope than expectation.
I think it is, and I think it's a while since I've felt when we've gone to Stamford Bridge. I'm not saying you go in saying we will win, you go in saying we can win.
Yeah.
And I felt like we were like that. I mean, probably going back to Rafa, really. Yeah. Because it did happen. Yeah. It was, we won some of the games, we lost some of the games, we drew some of the games and went through on away goals, whatever. It's
and ghost goals.
Yeah, ghost goals. But that time's gone. I can't remember the last time I really felt like that. You feel like we're going to need a bit of luck or something here to win this, because we're just not, it's not going to go our way unless the referee's having a bad day or something.
I do feel as though with Klopp in charge, though, and again, like you said, going back to the Rafa, I do feel like for the first time since Rafa, we have a guy who, in terms of his tactical understanding and whatever, he has the ability to set us up in a way to beat Chelsea, as opposed to going there and trusting that our best players play to the best of their ability and deliver something.
I think what's interesting as well is when he'll set them up to beat Chelsea, and I think the mindset from him will be that he will go there looking for the win. He might not go all guns blazing and take massive chances, but he will be looking for a win. And I think the last few years we've probably been looking for a draw at Stamford Bridge, and I hate that personally, because I think you know, it's this, they all say about reach for the stars and you'll reach the sky or whatever the bloody say. But
These the Minions. I've seen this on
Isn't
Facebook.
isn't that an X Club 7 song? I don't know.
yeah, that's it.
You know the words.
Oh,
Don't fucking pull the wool over everyone's eyes. I know the words and he knows the fucking words.
But that's it. You
Climb every mountain. You reach for the stars. Good.
And that's what they need. So they can play that in the dressing room beforehand.
But we just get.
I wonder if there's a German disco mix of that. There must be.
That'd be amazing.
Scooter remix.
Yeah, no, I think you're dead right though. You know, if you go, I think Mourinho often goes to away games against big teams and plays for a draw. I think Ferguson started to do it in the later years at Man United as well.
Against us quite a while, and just the luck we had, they still won them.
Yeah, exactly. But I think that's it. I think it's more
Self-bleeping
over.
there from Jim. Can I just say, brilliant.
I think it's more over that you play not to concede. You play to be as tight and as committed as possible, and you look to nick a goal. I think that there's a difference, isn't there, between that you're trying to win, but in a much more stable fashion, as you say, as opposed to going out there just windmilling in, desperately hoping to land the punch. You know, so I feel that's again it feeds into the feeling of general confidence. On the back of Bournemouth, then, Aubrey, do you think anyone from that side has played their way into contention? Because we haven't made. I don't think has he made any changes really to the starting lineup since he's come in the league?
Not in the league.
Firmino, for me, he's got to start. I think he's worked his way up through coming. He was obviously injured, so it wasn't as if he was never.
Yeah.
He wasn't in contention. He just wasn't available to him at first, and then he got 10 minutes, 20 minutes. So he looked good against Southampton in that 20-minute spell. He looked great. He's got to come in. I don't know who I'd pull him in for.
Well, that's the big question.
People are talking about him starting up top if Benteke is not fit. And I would, you know, as much as I loved Firmino's performance in the actual 10, I think, you know, I don't know whether it's in Klopp's thoughts, but I would like to see, if we're going to stick Firmino in, then why not for Origi? Because he has been the least effectual of all of our players.
I guess it comes down to system, doesn't it? We discussed this on the Final Word show that we changed from 4-3-2-1 ostensibly to a 4-2-3-1. Now Firmino starts. I want to see him continue to play in that hole behind the centre forward, because I think the problem will have the same problem that we've had in an attacking sense, that no matter who you put up front, you not get Coutinho and Lallana. I don't think are enough. Lallana does it; he does try, doesn't he? But are they going to get close enough to your centre forward, regardless of who it is? It's whether we thought there was enough there against Bournemouth at home to merit going a shade more attacking in the lineup, or do you revert back to type? Because it's a tough game, you're away from him. I genuinely don't know the answer. The problem is with Firmino is that will he get enough on the ball, and in the way that he plays, do we have a player to step up and stride into that space that he leaves when he inevitably does the stuff?
I think that's the thing, because I think Firmino can do that job. I think he'd almost be the classic false nine in that formation for me. Firmino, I think he's got all the tools to be able to do that. But you're right, the important thing is who goes beyond him. And I think with, as you say there, Coutinho, Lallana, they're not quite at the level that we need. They're not. Their natural instincts aren't to get past them. They have to think about it to go past them. So that would be the worry for me. But you know, would Firmino be a better option than Origi? For me, yeah, he probably would be. If you're just playing it simple.
Yeah, if you just literally comparing like for like, you know, you've got the team for the last league game. You're thinking, what are we going to do? We're going to stick with Origi. Or we're going to bring Firmino in his place. Who's going to play better? Firmino kind of slightly out of position, or a young lad still learning his trade really, and it's borderline. And I would say it would be worth. I would start with Firmino there possibly, but it is a dilemma. Yeah,
it's like I say, it depends on if we stuck with the same systems last time. There's issues.
If Benteke's fit at all, that changes.
Absolutely,
by the way.
yeah, completely, 100% agree with that. The thing is, for me, is the Coutinho question, and I think there's an obvious case to be made that Coutinho gets pulled out for this game. I don't think he's done enough to justify his inclusion under Klopp at all really. And I think that was where Firmino could come in. The problem is that if you're playing in the same system, it means Firmino's not playing centrally. He's playing more right hand side, left hand side, more left hand side than you'd really like him to be. There's an issue there. So just let's make one more that I'd throw in there. Jordan Ibe.
For Milner.
No, I mean
for that right wing.
I would.
Yeah.
If you go into the 3 behind 1, then Jordan Ibe's got a case. If you're sticking with the same formation, maybe not.
No. Yeah, I agree with that. I think Ibe did enough. He's another one that impressed enough and showed enough of what he's got to offer. Do you? I don't know.
He's got pace, hasn't he? He's better as an attacking player than a wing back, if you like. So it's more of a role he's sort of instinctively good at. And Chelsea, as I was doing a podcast earlier this week, Anfield Linux, and a Chelsea fan was saying the best way to deal with Chelsea is to run at the defence because they'll basically shit themselves. Yeah. Well, there's Ibe. He'll make them shit themselves. So let's get him in. Yeah. And that I would bring him in if we can. And I think, who would you swap him for? Depends what system we play again. Yeah. But I think there's something about Klopp is that he'll also look at the players he's got and work out what system he thinks will work best with the players he's got against whoever he's playing. And I think he could accommodate it. I think he could get Ibe in the same team as Firmino. Let's see, but I would definitely put Ibe in.
Yeah, like I say, I think that.
Oh, you'd full on just definitely put him in?
Yeah.
Oh, wow, okay.
I think, again, if we go with that, let's say same formation roughly as Bournemouth, I would be happy to say.
Well, who plays left then? Lallana?
Lallana, yeah. You look, because he's there on form, isn't
he? And what are we saying then? It's a asymmetrical 4-2-3-1.
Basically, Lallana does what Teixeira did.
Tucks in, I provides the width on the right hand side, Mourinho comes back in at left back and bombs down the left hand side.
Exactly, and then it's Milner and Lucas and shielding the midfield with
Milner
no getting forward to support.
No Chan. He's a tough man.
Yeah.
He's a tough man.
Yeah.
He is, isn't he?
But equally, that's a dilemma. But it's
they're nice dilemmas, though.
Yeah,
absolutely. Especially with a few players returning, because let's throw Benteke, because in the press conference he said Benteke could make it. Finally, we've got some players. Finally, we've got options because there was a time period.
We've also brought back Alan Rodriguez de Souza.
Yes, we did.
Yeah.
Did you see his interview?
No.
No, have I?
No, not that asked. But I know he scored directly from a corner while he was out on loan. He scored 2 goals and got 5 assists.
So he beat the first man. What's going on?
Absolutely, beat every man.
Something good came from a corner.
I know, believe it or not.
Just bad things. Yeah. Dark clouds and rain.
Get as many Brazilians in our team as possible. Yeah. I'm happy with that. Like, it was actually telling in the Bournemouth game, like the conversations between Firmino and Lucas. They were discussing a lot of how the ball should be moved around. Like, I mean, yeah.
Firmino said, he said he doesn't speak English yet, so he wouldn't do the interview last night. But he probably speaks a little bit, doesn't he? But yeah, that's another reason to have Lucas. With Coutinho as well, I'm actually thinking like he needs a rest. He needs not a rest maybe as in he's unfit, a rest as in mentally because he's struggling. Being on the bench, maybe he could come on.
That's it.
Make a difference and get his confidence.
Did you see the fume around that Twitter photo? Did anyone see the Twitter photo? So his wife's pregnant, or his bird's pregnant, isn't she? And she put like 70% loading on her belly, and he's underneath her holding the belly and stuff. And it's like, obviously the first 400 comments, what are you fucking doing? Concentrate on your form, you fucking bell end and all this. You're like, leave the guy alone, man. You know what I mean?
You know what? I said for all football fans are, but in particular, some of our fans are knobheads, aren't they? Like, you know what I mean? In that, like, fucking leave Coutinho alone, for fuck's sake.
He's in poor form.
Bitter Red wasn't a fictional character, basically.
No. What he was, it was a total and utter. You know, it was you couldn't write it, so just best to go off reality. You know what I mean?
It's like Michael Owen's Twitter account. You know, you couldn't do a parody better.
Yeah, there's boring James Milner, there's evil Kagawa, and then there's actually Michael Owen's the
Michael Owen. Yeah, no, I agree. I think so. Just quick, let's do a quick round the room on this. Coutinho, yes or no? Aubrey.
I'd drop him personally. I think he needs that mental break. We've talked about it a lot. I think you can even argue that like he's been dropped, but you could argue Firmino's and Lallana have deserved their place. Yeah. And it depends about what the system is, but yeah, I personally wouldn't start him.
Okay.
No, I'd drop him as well. Okay. Have him on the bench, ready to come on later if needed.
Okay.
It's such a tough one.
It is.
I will be totally honest, I wouldn't have the bottle to drop him. If it was genuinely my decision, I wouldn't have the bottle to drop him. But sat here on this couch with absolutely no consequences, he's getting dropped.
Absolutely. Yeah, no, I agree with that. I think there would be a real tendency, and again, in my head, we're sticking with the same formation as Bournemouth, per se. And on paper, having you could have Coutinho, Firmino, Lallana behind Origi, whomever, Benteke, whatever. Just because Coutinho is such a good player, there's a temptation just to keep playing him and keep playing him and keep playing him until he hits form. But that being said, I've said Coutinho has crumbled under the pressure of being our main man this season. He is historically not as good in the first half of seasons for us as well. So, and if you had to choose between him and Lallana, had you drop Adam Lallana, who's actually been putting a shift in, actually been a much more effective, albeit I guess similar end product from both of them. I think on merit,
European top scorer, Adam Lallana.
Yeah, exactly. On merit though, Lallana would deserve a place, I think, over Coutinho. On paper, Coutinho's a better player.
Joking apart, who's Coutinho going to come on for after 60 minutes if he is on the bench?
Absolutely.
You know what I mean?
But it is, again, just I like that. We've got to start thinking, if we've got players available to us, we've got to start thinking beyond the first 11. And we've got to start thinking beyond the 75th minute of football matches and start to think, well, hang on, there's a good chance against a good side that it's not going to be done and dusted with 20 minutes to go. You might need to have something in reserve that can unlock a defence, and whether Ibe starts or Coutinho starts or whatever, having those two as a potential to come on. I'd rather see Coutinho. I think Coutinho could have more of an impact off the bench than maybe Adam Lallana. You know, given the choice. That's my personal opinion.
What Coutinho is good for as well is sometimes when we need to defend as well, because he kind of, when we've not got the ball, he can be good at helping us win it back and do things with it. Yeah. And that's another reason that later on in the game, if we, when we're 2-0 up, and he'll come on and he's helping out on the defence side, but he's still on his day at least. He's still a threat going forward as well. Yeah,
absolutely. Well, it's a big issue. I think what I'd like to see, and again, take Coutinho out of this game for me, just to say to him, listen, you're not the main man, mate. You're a very, very good player. You're a very important member of this squad. Get yourself in the right headspace. Get amped up. Get really pissed off that you're not in the squad. Sit there and broil in your own footballing juices on the bench, ready to come on. But Firmino looks ready to become our focal point. You know what I mean? He looks hungry to be that kind of important player. And as we talked about Man City earlier in the season with Sterling, let Coutinho play second fiddle to someone else. Let him be the second or third or fourth best player of the team, and let him just work free from the sort of pressures of being all Liverpool's hopes and dreams lying his shoulders.
I think no matter what they're paid, I still think most players want to play, and if you're on the bench, you're going to be frustrated. And
Jose Enrique.
He wants to play, but not football. He wants
play
to
with the Dolphins,
play with his phone, doesn't he? And things. But it's just having that competition. Going back years ago when Liverpool signed Stan Collymore, they had Ian Rush, they had Robbie Fowler. Fowler was on the bench. I remember thinking at the time, Collymore wasn't doing great. Rush was coming towards the end of his career. You've got Fowler on the bench. It shouldn't matter who plays, because whoever's on the bench should be itching to play in their place, and whoever's on the pitch should be frightened that they're going to lose the place to whoever's on the bench. And this is what you still need now.
Yeah, no, completely.
It's also it's a good chance to do it now, because it's a story in Liverpool fans' world that Coutinho be dropped. I don't think it'd be massively ran with by the mainstream media that he's been bombed out to that pressure. Whereas you look at the Rooney situation at Man U at the moment, he's not in form at all. Their fans are calling for it. He could have been dropped 4 or 5 games ago. If it gets to a point where Coutinho is still, let's say his form continues to be like it has been for the last few weeks, it starts to build, and then you get that dilemma of, I've kind of painted myself into a corner where I can't drop him now. Yeah. Whereas this could be, he didn't play in the week. Firmino's back to fitness. It's a decision I've done to do the game. It's not necessarily about you. Yeah. He gets that 3-game break.
You can also
and then he can come into the team hopefully fresh or back into form.
And you can also release a little rumour that he's took a bit of a knock in training or something. Exactly, you're not going to risk him.
Well, on merit. Again, let's say we're sticking with the formation we played in the league so far. Lallana's in better form than Coutinho, and Firmino did enough in midweek to justify his inclusion at the weekend. So therefore, Coutinho gets rotated out. I don't think there's a problem with it.
Just on this then, guys, you've all dropped Coutinho. What is your forward line then for this game?
Hopefully Benteke.
Yeah.
Origi, if not, just because you've got to have that
And what's
position.
behind?
And I'd play, personally, I would play the Lallana, Firmino, Milner.
Okay.
But then the Milner kind of is there, but also joins back because we're away from home against Chelsea, and I'd have Lucas and Chan.
Okay, what about you,
I'd
John?
probably have Ibe instead of Milner on the right, but I'd have like the sort of 4-2-3-1 if you like. I'd have Origi at the front for now, just because he is a centre
I'd be
forward.
surprised though if I saw
if
both.
Benteke's not
For
available.
me, Coutinho dropped and Ibe in. I'd be really surprised to see that. Like,
Yeah, it might be. I don't know. I think on Merit the other day they showed what they're capable of, and I do think if we can go at them from the off, Chelsea. They will. I think
Well, listen,
they could
this
well
is-
crumble. You know,
yeah,
the crowd will be on the back.
Well, this
you
is
know,
exactly
everything,
the point,
and this
right?
is what it's in our hands to really unsettle them even more than they already are unsettled.
I think you absolutely agree with that. Their fans are on the tipping point at the moment. They're on
They've got their iPad messages ready and everything. You know.
They've already had the app.
you've got a script on the iPad.
Yeah, exactly. No, I depends entirely upon.
Is that possible, Tom?
Probably. Yeah. As you said earlier, you know, if we had the three behind, I'd like to see Lallana, Firmino, and Ibe. I would like to see those three in support of Origi. If we go back to what we've done prior to that, I would just swap Firmino out for Coutinho.
Yeah.
Even though I don't think I don't think you get the best out of Firmino that way. I think it boils down to, is it too early to build our team around Firmino? Is it probably a game too soon away from home as well? Possibly.
Possibly.
But fucking
I'm
Klopp
not even
is not
100%.
lacking huge balls, is he?
I'm not even 100% on Milner getting a starting place as well. You know, I'm not 100%. Like we were saying about Chan, you know, I think there were times of the day against Southampton with Chan, and it's not so much what you see when he's got the ball, it's the stuff you see when he's not got the ball, and he's kind of growing into his role, and his confidence seems to be building, and he's obviously helped by having literally a boss who speaks his language. I don't know. Lucas is a genuine leader, even if his footballing isn't always the best sometimes. You know, people slag him. He still puts everything in. He's definitely a leader. I don't know. I'd be tempted to have Lucas and Chan as the midfield too, and you know.
Yeah.
But all these are big calls, and now the way I'm going on here, we're practically changing the whole team.
Bogdan in goal as well,
doesn't bode
Jim.
Yeah, Bogdan in goal.
About the goal.
It is what you know. It's a big ask. It's a big game, isn't it? And I wouldn't be surprised to see us revert to what we've had so far. I think what we played against Bournemouth is what we'll start to integrate more towards as the season progresses, because I think that we looked more dangerous as an attacking.
So much more.
Threat.
And we defended from the front really well, you know, and Jim alluded to it I spoke about it on the Final Word show, is this closeness between our players means it's a lot easier for us to win the ball back, and when we do win the ball back, we're all there ready to go again essentially, and I think that's the formation for the Bournemouth one. I'm not sure whether he'll do it for the Chelsea game. I'm pretty indecisive on this, but I do think that 4-2-3-1 is the way we're going to.
Because that's a home formation. He may well have a thing where he thinks this is home, this is away.
Isn't it nice to have a manager who can implement a tactical game plan though on the team that you're playing?
He said as well he only had an hour to practice that. You know, the team for last night had an hour.
Yeah.
But that makes me think. Basically, he said, right, let's have a quick hour on the Bournemouth game, because all week they've been doing the Chelsea game. You know.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I hope so. Like, it'd be very, very interesting.
No, he did kind of allude to that, didn't he?
Yeah.
What was quite interesting as well, he talked about the meetings after the matches and stuff as well. He'd had 2 meetings after the last Southampton game rather than a training session and stuff to go through what they've been doing. Like,
No, great. Score predictions, Aubrey?
I'm going to go for a 1-1.
Because why not?
Because, yeah.
Jim?
You know, we've not had one for ages, so I'm going to say 2-0.
Oh.
Big balls over there. Like. Damn it, I was going to pick 2-0. I can't pick 2-0 now. Oh, you know what? I always agree with John. I agree with Jim. 2-0 to Liverpool.
Okay, yeah. 1-0. I want us to win a really horrible, like, defend, park the bus. They just throw everything in the kitchen sink at us, and we soak it all up and just score a really, you know, stiggy breakaway goal.
Oh, like
from
an
a
old
set piece.
Joe Cole sort of deflected
Yeah,
goal.
I always want to beat Chelsea that way. I want to give them a taste of it. I want us to get 1-0 ahead with 10 minutes to go, and like just time waste like fuck. So like, you know, like people throwing the ball to you for throwing,
Oh,
like
it
Ashley
bounces
Cole,
off your
then it
chest.
bounces off your chest and oh no, it's run away. You know, really just scumbag Chelsea to death. That'd be lovely.
Draw fouls off them and then you sort of collapse to the heap. And then if I don't need the physio, I think I'll be alright.
Yeah, that's it. I want their crowd absolutely baying for blood to the best of their iPad waving ability, and then literally, like I say, the final whistle goes and boos and jeers ring around Stamford Bridge.
Plastic flags being used as missiles.
Yeah, that'd be great. Yeah, we're going to wrap that up there. Let us know your score predictions in the comments below. Let us know who you think should start, formations, etc., etc. Chris will be doing his starting 11 prediction, of course.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, so if you want to know Chris's actual thoughts on it and probably slightly reconsidered thoughts, maybe, because why not? It's your show, you can do what you want. Check that on the YouTube channel. There's also loads of content going up.
If you want to see me boil the piss of Chelsea fans, go over to 100% Chelsea.
Yeah.
I've rated their players out of 10. I've done a combined Liverpool 11 with them. And I've done another show that I was actually sort of straight on.
Excellent, there you go. So yeah, do check it out. Loads of collab content, loads of great build-up content ahead of the Chelsea game. We also asked some Liverpool fans as well whether we thought we could get Joe hashtag sack Jose, which is good fun as well. Check it all out across the YouTube channel and on the redmentv.com as well. Anyway, thank you very much for watching, guys. Thank you very much for joining. It's been a pleasure. And we're going to be doing a live commentary actually for the game on Saturday on Rabble TV. That could go
potentially
any number of ways.
pre-match show.
Potentially, if we get the tech in place, potentially pre-match show. We'll talk a little bit more of that, I guess, across social media in the build-up to it. But do check that out. Anyway, thanks for watching. Give the video a thumbs up. Thoughts in the comments. Ta-ra.
Could sack Jose Mourinho.
Yeah, I know.
Jürgen
That'd be amazing.
Yeah. Absolutely incredible. If Jose gets sacked.
He hates us anyway. Yeah. I think, every time he plays us, he gets this little energy against us. He's like, I don't know why. Bobby's the European games back in the days.